Hello everyone, welcome to Chaudhary Data World channel. Today I am here with a new video on SQL series, that is what is schemas in SQL. We'll be watching all the details related to schema and what are its benefit. All these things we'll be watching into this particular video. So let's get started with the video. Before moving ahead with the schemas, let me link the previous things whatever I have taught, so that you can get a clear understanding that how is it related and why even we are reading it right now. So since we are in a journey to cover up this DCL commands, that is data control language, in which we are having three basic commands that are grant, revoke and deny. To understand these three commands better, we need to have prerequisite two concepts. So first one I have already covered up, that what is login and what is user. How to create login and user, what are the differences between both of them and what all things are there. I've already covered it up. You can check out that videos in which I have given a clear understanding of both of these things. Now the next thing which we need to cover up is the schema in SQL. And after a schema we will be directly jumping to those three commands that are grant, revoke and deny. So coming to this schema, it's just a logical container that holds collection of database objects. Hope you are understanding it, that this is just a container in which you are holding a variety of this database object, like it may be table, it may be stored procedure or views or function, anything it can be, which comes under a particular container. That container itself, it is called as a schema. Now you must have seen when you have created the table, that is starting with DBO dot and then the table name or the view name, whatever it is. That DBO is nothing but the database owner schema. Its full form is database owner, and it's a default schema of your SSMS. That means it is a container which is a default container when you are creating any new table. If you are not specifying the schema explicitly, then it goes and sit into that particular container which will be starting with DBO dot, correct? And its main purpose, why we are even using this schema, what is its practical use? So the main practical use are basically two uses. First one, it organizes the DBO object. That means you will be having separate schema for separate type of objects. That means suppose you are working with 3 to 4 teams. And just for example, suppose that there is a finance team and there is a sales team. Now you want to showcase some data to the finance team, you can have a schema named as finance. And to showcase the data for the sales team, you can have the schema named as sales. Now what you can do is you can assign separate accesses for both of them. That means the data will be organized for the finance guys and the data will be organized differently for the sales person. Therefore, when it goes ahead, it is used for security and access control over DB object. Of course, you will be showcasing your few of the data to the finance people, which you not would be needing to showcase that particular data to the sales people. Now here, how you can control this particular data showcasing? This will be controlled when you will be organizing your objects into your schema. Better you will understand when I will be explaining you that how we can go ahead with practical scenarios in this particular session only. So hold on in the video. And here you can see we are having two things, that how we can even create the schema and how we can delete the schema. Let's jump directly to the SSMS so that you can have a better understanding that how all these things going behind the scenes. Here you can see, if you have not covered up the video, I am just telling you that how the login is getting created and how the user is getting created. That's it. For more detailed description and between both of them, you can check out that video in which I have already covered up login and user thing. So what I have done is I have created two login that are with name Gaurav and the Raghav, and against both of the logins I have created Gaurav user, Raghav user. Now this time what we are going to do is we are going to create a schema with name SCM Gaurav underscore user, which will be having authorization. Now there is a concept of authorization. What this authorization word is telling you? There are two different words which you might get confused into. That there is one authentication and another one is authorization. That means if you are first logging into the environment, this SSMS, that login when you are providing the credential, that is called as authentication. That means you are authenticated to view this particular you may say whole of the server. Now after that you are authorizing this Gaurav user, that the Gaurav user is now authorized to view this or whatever you are having, that this particular schema, he is having the access to this particular schema. So what we will do is, I will just show the basic infrastructure what we are using here. So you can see that under databases right now this particular SSMS we are authenticated with the admin console, you can see over here, and we are having the databases as DB1, DB2, and in security you can see the logins as Raghav and Gaurav. Under DB1 you can see that user is Gaurav user. Similarly in DB2 I have kept Raghav user. Now what we are having is, we are having tables. The tables are dbo.suppliers, dbo.tbl demo. Now what I will do is, I will first create a schema. Just I have given you an overview that how, in what type of environment right now we are existing, so that we can have a clear concept of each of the things, how the things are going on. So when we are creating the schema with this particular command, create a schema and then a schema name authorization to the Gaurav user. Now we will execute it. Since Gaurav user is into DB1, it's right now getting executed in master. So what we will do, we will change it to DB1. Now what you can do is, you just need to execute it. It will create the schema successfully. That means in DB1 Gaurav user is there, and for Gaurav user we have created the schema, that is SCM Gaurav underscore user. And instead of Gaurav user, you can visualize like this with the previous example, that you are creating a schema for finance user. So here will be the schema for finance user. After that what you need to do is, you need to have creation of the table with this particular schema. Now this is only the twist, and this is only why we have created even the schema. So what right now we are doing, instead of dbo.tbl demo, we are now using SCM Gaurav underscore user. That means this particular schema here we are using, which will create the table but under the schema of SCM Gaurav underscore user. Now if you will refresh DB1, you will definitely get this particular table getting created with different schema, and the schema will be named as, just you can see over here, SCM Gaurav user dot tbl demo. Before it was DBO, that means database owner dot tbl demo. Now once it is created, now we will be seeing that what its benefit. Benefit we already have talked about, that its benefit to organize the data, or you may say organize the objects into the database. And another benefit, we need to have a control over the data. So what control we will make and how we will make that control? So control we can make it by granting the access to some particular user. It is right now very much clear that it is getting created for Gaurav user. But if suppose if it is getting created for Gaurav user, and if you want to grant this access to some particular other people, suppose you have created it for finance people, and if you want to give access this finance schema to some other particular group of people, you can just grant that access, right? So grant, and what grant you want to give it? It can be select, it can be anything, it can be I told you that I will be coming on grant and revoke and all these things later, but right now I am just giving overview between grant and revoke and whatever, just to demonstrate that how to make control over the data. So grant, select, and select is just what we need to have. This select is something which operation, that means we are just granting the select operation to be done by the Gaurav user, or here we can put Raghav user, so that you can have understanding that how we are exposing this data to some particular group of people with some particular set of actions only. So select only we are granting it. this particular Raghav user can't query, means he can only query the data, neither he can alter it nor he can modify any data, and anything is not possible by Raghav user in this particular one, in this particular, you may say, schema. So just that's it. We will just grant it with this command, and as soon as you grant this particular permission, when you will log in with this Raghav user, you will be able to see these whole of the things. So what I will do is, just I will replace this CM Gaurav user schema with DBO, because right now we are having suppliers, we are having this particular table created into this schema, right? So what we will do, we will just remove this, we will put this particular one over here. Hope you are not confused till here, that we are granting the select operation for this particular object to Raghav user, correct till now? Hope everything is fine. So before granting the access, I will just go to this particular you may say SSMS, log in as Raghav user. I will show you that right now he is not having access to CM Gaurav user schema. That I will first show you, and after that I will grant the access. Then you can see that clear demonstration that how it is having the access of SCM Gaurav user schema even. So just I will log in with Raghav user, and the password is demo@12345. So it is right now not accepting. So what we can do, whenever you are facing this particular problem, just what you need to do is restart your server, because it sometimes happens that the changes whatever you are making, it is not taken up. So just restart the server, it will hopefully should take the changes now. So when now you will try to connect, login field for Raghav user, instead what you can see SQL server authentication, you can just cancel it, again just try to connect it, instead of that SQL Raghav user, and then demo@12345. It is showing login failed user. What we can even do is, we can restart the SSMS. There might be some problem due to which it is not getting logged in. I will debug it later, but this is how it is getting done. It's not that much rocking thing that you will not be able to understand it. It's just that Raghav user will be now able to, if we will grant the access to Raghav user, he will be able to access this particular schema, because right now this particular schema is there for only for Gaurav user, not for the Raghav user, correct? So this is what schema it is getting used for, and why it is how is it benefiting. All these things you have already seen, and sorry for this that I was not able to show you the clear demonstration that how we can even, or else what we can do, I can once try mode, so that let me just go back and refresh this db1. Instead I will refresh this db2 and will check if Raghav user is even created or not, so that Raghav user is created. Now what I will do, I will open the SSMS. Okay, the problem was a very silly problem. we need not to provide the login username over here. We need to provide login credential over here. So that will be not Raghav user, that will be Raghav, and the password will be demo@12345. Once you connect with it, you will be able to see the databases. Now you can see over here inside DB1, you are even not able to see the DB1 because it is not accessible. Correct? Why it is not accessible? Because that DB1 is even not shared, and inside DB1 only we have created the SCM Gaurav user schema. So what we will do, we will first grant the select. Let's cannot find user Gaurav because it does not exist or you do not have. So what you need to do is, you need to first give the create, since it is into the DB2, what we need to do is, all the things we will first need to create the schema, and then we need to provide the access. So what we will do is, we will just create DB1. Inside DB1, if you will execute this one, definitely the grant is not going to be, because this particular schema there is not existing into this DB2 which Raghav is having access. So there is some conflict between infrastructure conflict, but this is how the things goes. Leave it for now, that how this Raghav is not getting access, and because right now what the situation is, that Raghav is having the access of database DB2, but he's not having access of DB1. We need to first give him the access of DB1, then we can make this grant access, then only it's possible. So that will in that the video will go long, so right for now I'm skipping this out. You can understand this thing, that how grant and how this schema is even useful in the practical scenarios. So thank you so much guys for watching out the video, and if any confusion, let me know into the comment section. Stay tuned to the channel for upcoming videos. I will be coming up with now grant, revoke and deny. With these three topics are, or you may say DCL commands are very much useful into your security operation. So stay tuned to the channel. I will be coming up with this particular video into the next session. Thank you so much guys. See you in the next one.